Welcome back to Jump Scare. I'm Betty.
And I'm Chad. We're currently broadcasting from the quarantine zone.
This week we cover 1989's Leviathan.
It was an experiment that tampered with nature's most basic laws. It went terribly wrong. It was buried 5 miles down. Now, a crew of undersea miners is about to stumble upon this terrifying secret.
Shack to 7. What's going on out there, Williams?
My God, are you picking this up?
Look at that. Leviathan.
Currently with a Russian fleet in the Baltic Sea.
Currently it's rusted junk and we're looking at it. What's your air reading?
20 minutes.
Do something quick!
We've lost him. My crew's in jeopardy.
But you have no proof.
I'm ordering you to start an emergency medical evacuation.
What if it turns out to be nothing?
Help me. That's already killed one man.
My rebreather stopped. I'm losing compression. I can't breathe.
Whatever got Six-Pack and Bowman, it's still here.
I feel something. Somebody's alive in here.
What's going on? Six-Pack. Six-Pack, answer.
Don't go in there. Don't touch anything. What are you trying to tell us, Doc?
It absorbs the intelligence of its victims.
Thank goodness you're still alive.
When are you coming?
I say we protect ourselves. Leviathan.
This is my first time ever watching this movie. We decided we wanted to do a water creature film. And because obviously you can't just leave, from when you're at the bottom of the ocean, it's kind of a quarantine film.
Yeah, you're stuck down there.
Yeah, in a sense, yeah. They're not sick or anything. But
Yeah, but you still can't get out, so you're trapped down there.
They get sick. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, they do get sick in a bad way. I've seen this one a few times. Once when I was in college, they actually showed this one at the pool. Had everybody set up. You could float in the pool or sit next to it. They had someone randomly with a giant shark head popping up at people at the pool. It was kind of fun, even though, sharks could show up at the end, but they're not the big monster of it. But I think most people thought it was going to be a shark from the picture.
Well, yeah, I guess. And it's kind of a weird name, since it's derived from the book of Job.
Yeah, I think they were going for kind of an alien type thing where, the ship in Alien, was, what was the original one? The Nostromo. I think they were trying to have like an alien type,
sounding name.
Yeah, sorry, I stuttered there.
No, it's fine. That would make sense because Aliens came out in 86 and this one came out in 89, and I saw it as a kind of an Aliens meets The Thing.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Kind of like Alien meets The Thing, and it was one of the we had a rut of underwater movies there for a while, and it was Deep Star 6, The Abyss. There was a few more that were mostly straight to video, like The Rift or Endless Descent, depending on which one you rented. They had different titles on it. But the only one that really made any money was The Abyss, and even that didn't do great. It was just one of those things where they had, they announced like, oh, hey, The Abyss is coming out in 1989. James Cameron's doing it. And they were like, let's rip that off now before it gets out.
Let's make every underwater movie we can.
Yep.
Well, this one, unlike the other rip-offs, quote-unquote, this one had recognizable faces. You have Ernie Hudson.
Yep. You got Daniel Stern from Home Alone, even though he hasn't been in that yet. Home Alone, City Slickers, a lot of ones like that you'd recognize him from.
Or as I call him, the curly-haired guy from Home Alone. That's how I differentiate who he is.
From Joe Pesci?
Yeah, exactly.
The one who's not Joe Pesci.
Yeah, non-Joe Pesci guy.
And, of course, you've got Peter Weller.
Weller.
He'd already been in both RoboCop movies by this point, I believe. No, the second one came out the next year, so he'd done at least one RoboCop, Buckaroo Banzai, so he was known to genre movie people.
There's even somebody on the in the group of people named Jonesy.
Yeah.
Come on.
And they had somebody named Bowman, too, which I think is a little bit of a reference to 2001, 2010, because you're trapped out there in space. And I also read, I think they talk about it on the Blu-ray, too, that they reused a lot of parts from the 2010 movie that were in storage to make the underwater base. So I can see, I guess they thought, haha, we'll be clever and we'll name one of the people Bowman.
It was a box office fail.
Oh, yeah. All of them were except The Abyss, so this one didn't do well at all. What did it cost, like $20 million?
It was $20 million. They made a little over 15.
Yeah, so it was close. I wonder how it did it in home video, because I know a lot of people rented it.
I'm sure it did stronger, but not strong enough to secure itself a sequel.
No.
For, because it'll go straight to video and whatnot.
Oh, I also forgot to mention, we got Meg Foster in this.
Well, yes, I was going to get to that. Meg Foster.
In what is probably the best role of her life, because all she had to do was put on a suit and talk to people on a video conference thing. I'm sure they filmed all of her scenes in one day.
So it's the 80s, guys. Let me just tell you. Meg Foster, who I can't even look at because she freaks me the fuck out. Her eyes are just crystal. It's freaky. Shad said that she's a nice person, so there you go.
I've met her at a couple of conventions. She's very nice.
She is smoking and wearing power suits throughout the whole film, and it is definitely, you're like, okay, it's definitely late 80s, early 90s in this film. It's freaking amazing. Even the backgrounds are just like the office, quote unquote, she's supposed to be in, is just reeks of late 80s.
They snuck in and filmed it in the Wall Street set when nobody was looking.
Oh my god. Hey, gotta save that money, right?
Who knows, they might have.
Now, my first impression of the film, well, as we were going into it, it was, I'm not really big into underwater films because I really don't like, I'm not really also big into space films because space freaks me the fuck out badly. And then the water is just another unknown thing, which is why these movies do well, because they're both major fears for a lot of people. And the plot is always the same. You're stuck in this place, some creature or some shit is gonna happen to you, you cannot fucking go anywhere, and you're fucked and you gotta deal with it. The end. The same formula for all of these movies, more or less.
There's a book called How to Survive a Horror Movie by that Seth Graham Smith or Jones, I can't remember. I think it's Smith.
It's Smith.
And he said, like, when it comes to space movies, the only thing, you should never answer a distress call. And the only thing worse than a distress call was no distress call. If they're not answering you when you call them and they didn't send out any messages, just set a course for home and ignore that place because everybody's dead.
Now, curly-haired guy,
Daniel Stern, he he goes out, he gets kind of reprimanded because he's a dick, and there's a lot of sexist, like, it's definitely a film of his time. It's very sexist. There's two women under there, and they remind them every 5 minutes that, hey, you're a woman, you got boobs.
Yeah, boobs. Hey, look at those boobs. I can't do anything but look at the boobs. It was very boobiful.
But they're all underwater. They're supposed to be, I think it said 16,000 feet underwater mining.
They're mining for silver.
Yep, and whatever else they can find. But mostly they've been finding silver, apparently.
This Daniel Stern kind of is supposed to be working and helping out his coworker, who is a woman. And he kind of strays off and finds, like, a Russian fucking abandoned, like, sunken boat. And he goes, I guess abandoned and sunken. It's a sunken boat. And he goes in. It's a very, very long scene of her walking very slowly. Because they're wearing these big-ass suits, obviously.
Yeah, they're those heavy dive suits that look like space suits.
And the suits look cool, but it takes forever.
Yeah, they had Stan Winston build them, so he did a good job on that shit.
Oh, Jerry Goldsmith did the music, so if anyone cares about that.
Oh, and we haven't mentioned either the director of this is George Cosmatos, who's the father of, what's his name? Panos Cosmatos, that directed Mandy and several other movies now.
And he finds this, like a safe and they bring it up to the top, and there's various items in the safe: a Rolex, personal effects for the people, for the crew, and
a lot of dead people's effects.
A lot of dead people. Everybody was dead. A VHS, surprisingly, of, the captain saying something that does not help them at all because he's interrupted by someone entering a room.
You remember, like, the 80s, everything, they always assumed everything that was going to be written was going to be replaced with video at some point. So they were always showing, like, the future. It was like, oh, it's a videotape log of everything. It's the video will. It's the, everything was video phones and all that, because they thought that made it super futuristic.
Okay. I'm going to take your word for that, because I was alive, but not that alive, right?
Yeah.
And then they bring it up, and then, they find, like, a flask and some, rum and...
Vodka. It's Russia.
Vodka, I'm so sorry. Some vodka, and the shit is poisoned. I mean, I should say it's poisoned to the thing. It's as kind of an experiment that the Russians fucked over their own people.
Yeah, and this is another one of those things, again, like Alien. Peter Wehrle tells them, hey, we're not allowed to have alcohol done under here. Pour that shit out. They don't do it. They try to break in. He hides it in his personal safe. They break in, steal it. Fortunately, he's already poured out the vodka, but he didn't know about the flask. The asshole guy kept the flask for himself, and of course that was poisoned. So just like Alien, if they had listened to the one guy who said, don't do it. Sigourney Weaver said, don't bring him on the ship. He's got shit on his face. We don't bring that on board. They were like, no, it's fine. Same thing. Listen to the person who says, don't bring that shit on board.
They should have not brought that shit on board, because let me tell you, that shit makes you crazy. Like, these people transform, and it is, I would think, like, how many, maybe like a couple of years, like 5-ish, probably a little more years later, Event Horizon came out. If you've seen Event Horizon, just it kind of, like, the transformations kind of remind me of Event Horizon. They're just horrifying. And, they're practical effects, so they look okay. There's some times where it just looks really terrible. But for the most part, I mean, it's a movie of its time, so...
They had no CGI to fix it back then. If they looked at the shot and they said, well, that's clearly a puppet, I guess we're living with that.
Yeah, there's no choice.
Can you darken that a little bit? No? All right, we're living with that puppet shot then.
And the people in charge is Peter Weller, and there's a doctor on board, obviously a psychiatrist / doctor, kind of fits all the bills, right? He does the body and the mind. Everything. And he's all fancy and renowned, but he did some fucked up shit with experimenting drugs on people without their permission, and he got reprimanded and whatever. And that's why he's stuck here in this with this crew.
He's at the bottom of the ocean now.
And let me tell you, they're the worst, like, managers, quote unquote, ever. They don't tell the crew anything that's going on, because Daniel Stern dies. Like, this motherfucker dies. He drank the freaking vodka and with another girl, and he dies. They're like, he's in the infirmary. They put a freaking blanket on him, and they call it a day, as they're trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And while that's happening, the crew has no idea. Ernie Hudson goes in, has like a full-length conversation with him.
He thinks he's just sleeping under the blanket up over his head.
Yeah, he's just sick, and he's not feeling it, so he's just blanking it.
Because we all know he's dead, but Ernie Hudson doesn't, and then, the body moves under the blanket, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm bothering you, I'll let you go.
And he's just transforming some more, and it is disgusting. When things are wet, like when they show like society, like things are wet, it just gives you the heebie-jeebies. This is definitely categorized. I would say it's a ocean horror, but also body horror for sure.
Yeah, because there's some fucked up things that happen to people's bodies in this.
Which is why I say The Thing, because it's like The Thing times 5, I feel. because it goes really into it.
They get really quick with it, too. It took a little bit of time on the thing for everybody to get... They don't have that many people here, so you're kind of right into it.
Yeah, and you kind of got to take your time because then the movie will be over in like freaking an hour.
But, so the girl that gets infected with it, once, she realizes what's going on, her hair is coming out in clumps, she's just like, well, fuck it. She kills herself.
Okay, before she kills herself, she sees Daniel Stern, and she sees that, his wrist is opening up and it's bubbling with pus and the shit's moving in there. That's when she decides to off herself. That was a good fucking move, okay? This bitch was thinking about others and was like, you know what? I'm not gonna get saved. I'm fucked. Let me just take myself out. That kind of didn't help her or help the crew, per se, because...
Well, this is where if they had told people what was going on, it would have come in handy. Because they literally, they eventually do tell them, like, oh yeah, they both died from drinking the vodka. And they zip them both up in a body bag and like, we gotta flush this shit real quick. As they're carrying the body bag towards the chute to flush out, it starts moving, and they're like, oh shit, they're still alive. Yeah, don't open the bag, guys. Don't open the bag.
No.
But of course, they open the bag, and you get this, like, crazy-looking claw that comes out and slashes the one guy. So you know he's fucked right away.
He's so fucked. Oh, that guy's famous. Forgot. He's a character actor. Forgot his name.
Hector Elizondo.
Yeah, Hector Elizondo. He gets clawed, man, and he does not... He's actually the one that fucks the rest of the crew because they would have just been able to shoot these body bags up. And it's like at that moment when it moves, just tell them they're infected. They got bullshit moving around in them. We gotta throw them out. No direction whatsoever. They just let's just throw them in. And, De Jesus, who's one of the members, he's Catholic and religious. He's like, we can't just be throwing people that are alive out vents. Like, this is fucked up. We gotta listen like their last rites. We gotta do things.
He's like, I know we didn't really like this guy, but come on. We're just gonna throw his still living body out the chute? That seems a little rough.
Yeah, Ernie Hudson's freaking out. He's like, they alive! They alive! And everyone's freaking out. And yeah, then, like... a big old mutated leg, just like a clump of meat, just falls out the damn thing and wiggles its way where, like, no, they didn't see it. It wiggles its way into, like, the water.
It's like a tentacle that's crawling out, and when they flush it in the vent, part of it gets cut off, and then it just wiggles around in the little puddle of water there. It's just wiggling its way, dividing, and turning into more tentacles. Yeah.
Horrifying.
Another character we forgot to mention that's in this is the character that they call Willie, because her last name is Williams. She's played by Amanda Pays, who you'll remember from Max Headroom, The Flash, another 80s horror movie called The Kindred. She was in a few things, and she kind of vanished after that. But I love her reaction to it. When she sees that tentacle, she's like, fuck this. And she just like gets in the shower with her bra and panties on, is just like scrubbing her skin with soap. Like, nope.
So, like, what most of people did probably after they, like, walked to the... like, went outside during this coronavirus thing.
Yeah, when they had to go to Walmart, they come back and scrub down like that. Except in the front yard so you wouldn't contaminate the rest of the house. But yeah, so things go downhill pretty quickly from there because once you got like a tentacle monster flipping around on the ship, everybody's fucked then.
Amanda Pays is, she's married to Corbin Burnson, which you probably know because you probably watched, like, L.A. Law.
I didn't really watch that one, but I do know who he is. He's been in a few things, too.
He was in Major League. All the Major Leagues, actually.
Yeah, he's also in a horror movie series that Brian Usna did called The Dentist. He plays an evil dentist.
Oh, evil dentist. So, yeah, she didn't actually have to work that much, I guess.
No, he did okay he had that Lally Law money.
Yeah, she has a good, character actress IMBD.
And, they don't do a lot of the stuff with her where she's, like, just, like, screaming and going, oh, no, one of you men help me. No, she grabs a flamethrower and starts burning shit when it gets... Which I love the fact they had a flamethrower under the ocean. Like, what the fuck were you doing with that?
They were like, you know what? Aliens had flamethrowers. We need fucking flamethrowers. Because that's how you kill things.
There because there might be something that gets on the ship we need to burn.
I just want to make some statements. Bowman didn't commit suicide properly. She did not slit her wrist the proper way. So I don't know how she died.
Oh, she's an amateur suicide,
I guess. Well, technically, she could have been saved. She didn't lose that much blood. They didn't find her 5 hours later. It was like 10 minutes.
Yeah, they didn't try real hard. They just looked in the shower and went, oh, shit, she cut her wrist. well, fuck, I guess she's dead. Throw her out the ship.
And then the doctor picked up, picked up her bloody wrist with no fucking gloves, knowing that she has an infectious disease.
I mean, this is 1989. Everybody knows about AIDS and shit. At the very least, I'd have been concerned with that.
So yeah, there's parts of the movie where it's like, what? Why are you doing this? Which I feel happens a lot in these older films. Actually, it happens in all fucking films. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. But
it's a stupidity that moves the movie along and actually shows you that, you know, maybe make smarter decisions.
Yeah, of course, in this one too, you've got the kind of like Wilford Brimley in The Thing, who starts smashing up all the helicopters and the computers, killing the dogs so nobody can leave. You got Richard Crenna in this one that plays the doctor. He realizes, well, we're probably all going to get infected and die. We don't want to take this back up to the surface. So he launches all the escape pods. And it's like, well,
dick move.
Here's where we're going to die. And from that point on, they're really fucked because they've got no way to get off. And these things are chasing them everywhere, trying to murder them. So they eventually, you realize that one of the things is like the Hector Elizondo that had been absorbed by it. And the other guy, we forgot to mention, DeJesus, he manages to open a cabinet, and this thing that looks like a giant leech just flings itself out of the cabinet and buries itself in his stomach.
Ew.
And I love Ernie Hudson's reaction to that, because it's not like a macho man reaction and all that. He's just like, oh, fuck no, and runs and like shuts the door and goes, I'll come back with some help. Just probably closer to the reaction you would get in real life. You wouldn't get it where everyone would just be like, oh yeah, giant leech just jumped out of there. Sure, I'll help you with that.
You have a fucking gaping hole in your fucking chest. So no, you're dead. I wish it was me and I had a gun on me, shot to the head and in the dick, just in case. Just gotta shoot them in the dick. You gotta do a head shot and a dick shot.
Just to make sure, just to humiliate them after they're dead.
You're not getting the jollies. You're not coming back. You don't need the dick anyway, so just blow that shit away.
But yeah, then you start to see that, you find out that the Russian thing that they put the stuff in the vodka, they were trying to create a race of aquatic soldiers. That always works out well.
That was not... First of all, whoever made that concoction fucking failed. Because this thing is not taking any direction and doesn't even speak English. It doesn't know anything. It just eats. A mindless monster that just eats. And I don't want to give too much away, but the ending is just...
It's a super creepy creature.
It kind of has like a Godzilla feel then in the end. There's a lot of different feels to the movie, I felt. But...
Yeah, I thought the ending was the ending where they eventually do get to the surface, I thought was a little odd. It seemed a little weird and anticlimactic,
It's like we've run out of ideas, guys, and just cue in Jerry Goldsmith's music.
And we need like 5 more minutes on this movie. I wonder if a lot of these times when you see these kind of things, if it's not like... I think it's one of the sleepaway camp movies where they had a flashback in it, and it was just at a normal speed. But then they realized the movie ran like a minute short, so they went back to the flashback and just slowed it down to half speed, so everybody was like very slowly going, ha, 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 ha. You thought they were trying to be artistic? No, they just needed an extra minute.
Wow, that's... They couldn't show, like, Angela's dick shot just a little longer. Just apparently add a dick shot in there.
Apparently not, so...
Because I don't think they revisit that later on in the other movies. I think she's just walking around with her fucking guitar.
That. She's a woman after that. They just... Nope, she's a woman now.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, if she was in this movie, her dick and her would have been transformed into a fucking crazy-looking monster.
Yeah.
That kind of resembles Godzilla and kind of like Freddy Krueger's chest. There's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, you get a lot with this monster. That's where some of it looks really good, some of it looks pretty terrible.
They were taking kind of a Jaws / not showing you the monster at first, like you have mentioned in the movie. It's like a hand, a tail, a tentacle, until finally the reveal later on when they start showing more of it. They show more and more of the monster as the movie progresses.
And I kind of feel like they were better off just not showing as much of it, I think you're better off not seeing it for the most part, and most times you're better off not seeing the monster at all if you can't make it look really good,
Yeah, I agree with you. And now that I'm really like talking about the movie and really thinking through it, then later on in the 90s, that virus movie came out with Jamie Lee Curtis that you also showed me, and that film kind of has but it's all, I would consider it to be like body horror esque as well.
And it's also about an experiment that went wrong on a Russian ship.
Damn.
So I feel like, and it was 10 years after Leviathan.
They were like, for it was a reboot, but they didn't know it.
Yeah, they said bother to tell them. That one was directed by the guy that did all the effects for The Abyss too, by the way.
No fucking way.
Yes.
It's like a crazy
underwater
ocean cycle of...
Yeah, you're stuck in you're forever relegated to doing ocean movies.
Well, who loves ocean movies more than people that live in Florida?
Oh yeah, you got to get all your crazy ocean movies in, because let's face it, no one's going to the beach in the near future.
No, they're not. I'm definitely not.
Probably not ever. Not until they blast the beach and turn that first layer of sand to glass. Then we can just shove it all out in the ocean and start over.
Okay, that's a terrible idea, because then, what happens to all the fish and the sea life? They're going to eat the glass. They're already dying.
They're eating the glass, and they're idiots, and they deserve what they get.
That's fucked up. I give this film 2.5 knives.
I'm going to go 3 just because I've had a fondness for it for a long time. I know it's not... I know there's things wrong with it, but I've watched it for so many years now, so many different times, that I enjoy the heck out of it.
Something very shocking, and I don't think it's gonna ruin the movie for the audience, but there's a shocking moment in the end of the movie that, like we have mentioned before, it's a movie of its time, it's kind of sexist here and there, it has its things. But this one shot, at first I was taken back, like, oh my gosh, what the hell? And then I was like, you know what? This is the most feminist fucking movie. You cannot deny that this woman was seen as an equal. Now, in the end, something happens. Peter Weller encounters Meg Foster, and she's spewing her BS. He just walks right by her, and as he's walking by her, punches her clean in the face.
Just knocks her out and just keeps on walking.
And I was like, that's pretty fucking baller. As a woman, I was like, man, that's fucking violent as fuck for like 5 seconds. And I was like, you know what? No. Because he would have done the same thing to a man, and she wearing them power suits, so she get what she deserves.
This has one of my favorite horror movie lines of all time in it, too, where they're calling Meg Foster on the video phone and saying they need an immediate evacuation. She says, now listen, I know you've been through hell. And Ernie Hudson just goes, been there? Bitch, we are still here. Get us out. I just love that.
Oh, Ernie Hudson has a lot of good one-liners.
Yeah, I feel like he was the guy in this movie. They were like, you didn't get to say a lot in Ghostbusters, so we're going to give you a lot of things to do in this one.
What's also, because, I might have a very strange mind. When I saw Peter Weller, obviously knowing he's RoboCop, I kept thinking about Peter Welker, right? That's his name? What's his face? From the voice from Transformers, Optimus Prime.
I don't think it's Welker. It's, I don't know what it is. Frank Welker.
Frank Welker.
It's Frank Welker, and Peter Cullen is Optimus Prime.
Yes. Okay, so I keep thinking of him and thinking like he's going to transform into some like thing to fight this. I know, I'm crazy. That's a fucking movie I would see. Actually, I guess I probably could say that's like Pacific Rim, which I despise. Don't send me hate mail, okay? Do not send me hate mail. I do not like that film. It is terrible.
Okay, well, on that note, we'll be alienating listeners and everyone in the world.
I'll rewatch it again, but it's just, there's so many things. We're not going to get into it. I gave that one actually -1 knife. Is that possible? Can I do that? -1 knife. This one, we should give it, I give it 2.5 crabs. I'm giving it crabs, guys.
Don't give this movie crabs. If you're listening to this and you think, hey, I've got a movie I'd like for them to cover, let us know. send us a message on Instagram, or you can email us at staytunedtothehorror@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's a better way. We are all over the place, so infect us with your infectious
So once again,
wants.
just email us at staytunedtothehorror@gmail.com. Don't infect us. We've got enough problems with that already.
Thank you so much, and stay tuned to the horror.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.